Oh man, I think we got a super card. What is up, guys? This is Godzilla Suplex, and welcome to today's episodes. I'll be giving my fight predictions for the now announced unofficial interim championship lightweight match between Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier, and I'll also be giving my predictions on another interim fight that is happening on that card, because it's Israel Adesanya versus Kevin Gastelum. But before I do that, please hit that subscribe button, also hit the notification bell so you get a notification every time I make a video. So guys, let's get into this, because for the past couple of weeks the UFC has been dropping bombs about what is going to be the card for UFC 236, and it's just absolutely stacked. From we were talking about from the co-main event to the main event, and it's just out of this world. We all know that Kevin Gastelum was really robbed when Robert Whittaker injured his intestines and could not fight him. It was very disappointing, because Robert, who is the middleweight champion, has not fought in over a year since he fought Yoel Romero, and a lot of people are getting a little fed up, and we really need to speed up the process. But you really don't want to strip somebody that's really working hard and really trying to come back. So they just decided we're going to make an interim title. Now I'm somewhat against it, but not really, because it's Israel versus Gastelum, and they'll be the acting champion until Whittaker comes back. So I think the UFC made a pretty competent decision. But man, about this Holloway Poirier, this is all types of wrong if you're Tony Ferguson. I mean, even though he turned down the offer for the fight, still, well, let's look at it from these two perspectives. Tony's already had the interim title and lost it when he broke his leg. So he still somewhat in everybody's mind has priority to the title when Khabib comes back. And then if you look at from another perspective, that what Khabib said, he was like, Tony, I done missed multiple opportunities at a title shot 3 times and almost died 1 time. So it's the interim title is only opportunity at the title. It's basically #1 contendership with a belt to show for it. So that's what he's basically saying. In that perspective, it's kind of dumb that Tony Ferguson did not take the fight. So, because it could have been Max Holloway versus well, I don't know, Dustin probably would have still got it either way. It was going to be Dustin versus somebody. So Dustin versus Holloway. It's just crazy how Max Holloway is just moved right in. It's getting that #1 spot. It's like, wow. Wow. Like, he's going straight for the title. He's trying to be a 2-title champion, guys. Like Conor McGregor. I mean, just out of nowhere. Holloway's trying to be a 2-division champion, without going through Khabib. It's very, very interesting how the UFC are trying to handle this. And before I even get to the fighter goals of the co-main event, I just want to say that once Max Holloway permanently moves up to lightweight, if he wins this title, or maybe if he still loses, it's going to be crazy in the featherweight division, because we all know the best time to watch a division is when a champion or a dominant champion loses the title, because everybody's going to be scrambling. The former champion's going to be scrambling. Jose Aldo, you're going to have Jeremy Stevens trying to go nuts. Everybody's not going to win or lose their fights. And it's going to be some great pay-per-views, man. It's going to be some great pay-per-view with ESPN cards, because they're going to go all out to try to get that title, especially with the gap that's going to be left by Max Holloway. Conor McGregor might even go back down to try to get that title. I mean, it'll be crazy. But now let's get to the fire goals of the co-main event. Israel Adesanya versus Kevin Gastelum. First, we're going to start off with the underdog, probably in this situation, Kevin Gastelum. I think his goal is to keep Israel Adesanya on his feet. Try to throw a lot of power shots to make him respect you. Come out very, very slow. Because, we know with Derek Brunson coming out fast, you can easily get countered. So he definitely has to watch out. He has to somehow mix up with Israel Adesanya, make him dirty box, okay? We know Israel Adesanya just wants it to be a pure stand-up striking match from a distance, but you have to get inside and mix it up with him. Try to get him a little tighter, a little gas, and just beat him up on the inside where, Israel Adesanya cannot use that huge length advantage. But that's basically it, because he's really not going to take him down. But if he does take him down, keep him there and score points. Do not try to go for the knockout, because at any chance he can use those long, lengthy legs to try and get out of it. And then he's going to take advantage of your stamina being low. So that is basically the goal for Kevin Gastelum. But what is the goal for Israel Adesanya? And I think it is staying at a distance. Staying at a distance, he could just chop away at Kevin Gastelum, especially his legs, make his maneuverability very weak. So now you can come in against him instead of him coming in against you and pressuring you. So when you pressure him, he's got to come forward with some kind of offense, and then you can start your counterattack game plan. But guys, now let's get into some of the scenarios about this fight. What is going to happen in that epic first round? We saw with him and Silva, it was just a absolute clash. But with this fight, it's probably going to be a little bit more technical. So will we see a knockout in the first round? I highly doubt it on Kevin Gastelum's side. I think Kevin Gastelum's going to try and hit hard and stay consistent with his punches to try and wear down Israel Adesanya for those later rounds. But then we have that element where Israel Adesanya can land 10 punches in a row and just have this dude sleeping on the canvas. So it's very likely for one side, and it's highly unlikely for another, because Israel Adesanya has great defense, rivaling that of the legendary Anderson Silva, as we saw in their fight. This man has impeccable defense, and it's going to be hard to break that down, even with good setup shots, to try to get on the inside of that defense. So I very much predict that it'll go past the first round, and I want to skip to the third round. I think the second round, well, this is basically going to be a points fight until over the third round. So then it really becomes critical. So who's going to take over in those rounds? We know Kevin Gastelum has pretty good stamina, and he has a great ground game. So by this time, he will have gotten Israel to the ground at least once, to me, because he is that pedigree of fighter. But the problem is that he's going to have to keep him on the ground and actually get in a ground and pound position, which is very easy for Israel to defend against. So in these scenarios, it's hard to play out, because basically Israel has the full advantage over Gastelum's step in power, but Gastelum would have to break his defense first, then hit him. So it's very interesting, because Anderson Silva is kind of like the groundwork for how to at least defend yourself against Israel, some of the signs, some of the knowings of what Israel's gonna do. So it's kind of on Kevin Gastelum to sort of repeat that with more efficiency and power and better timing, and trying to find an opening to not hit or crack, but actually counter Israel Adesanya in the head until he cannot get back up again, which up to this point nobody's been able to do. So that's why in my prediction of this co-main event fight, I think Israel's going to win by knockout in the second round. I don't think Kevin Gastelum's going to have anything to throw at this guy, and I think he's going to finish the job of damaging him in the first round and then finish him in the second to become the interim champion and be lined up to face Robert Whittaker when he comes back in probably about 2 or 3 months. So now let's get to our mega main event of this card, and that is Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway for the interim lightweight championship. I know, even though Max Holloway has not ever had a lightweight bout, which is absolutely crazy. So now let's start breaking this down with the fighter goals. Starting off with the newcomer Max Holloway. What does he need to do to really get Dustin in a bad position? And firstly, I would have to say, staying out of the range of Dustin's combos. Yes, he needs to stay within boxing, but he really needs to use that really good length of his to really start tagging Dustin and put him in a bad spot. Much like he did with Brian Ortega, he has to keep him at range, use a lot of kicks to make sure that Dustin does not get on the inside, so he can start tagging him with his great boxing. And I think also using his takedowns. That's one thing I think Dustin is not preparing for. He's going to use takedown and try to make this an all-out brawl on the floor, and that Dustin is not really ready for. He's going to be prepared for boxing at the highest level. But I think another thing that could throw a wrench in his plan is getting taken down and having to reaccept his striking while Max Holloway just tees up on him and winning points in each round. And now let's go over the fighting goals for Dustin Poirier. I think Dustin Poirier really needs to get inside and really just start doing some damage. Keep hitting Max Holloway. This is a new weight for him, and putting the power on Max Holloway, sort of what he's not used to, and knocking him out. So I mean, that's really all for Dustin Poirier. He needs to go for the leg, keep going for the head hunt Max Holloway, and make him be forced to try and take you down or try not to stand with you. But now with some of the fire goals out of the way, let's get to the matchup at hand. Who has the advantage in this matchup, and what is going to happen to set the motion of this fight? until the championship rounds. And in the first round, it is highly likely that we could see a knockout. Max Holloway having more power at this weight and maybe be able to put the hands on Dustin Poirier, but I highly doubt it. I think these guys are real dangerous against each other. They are going to try and feel their way out through this fight, and I really predict that there's not going to be a knockout in that first round. The second round is a little bit more interesting because we also have to think about once they have felt themselves out, they will be able to now start trying to implement their game plans. So Dustin may come out, try getting inside, and Holloway's gonna try and use his length to get the advantage in the fight. So who gives out first? Now I really think in that second round it's gonna really tell the story, because that's who's gonna get ahead in the fight. Of course, having a good first round, but I think the first round will largely be even. Then the second round, they will really be trying to press their strategies. So I really do think that second round will be telling. It'll be sort of the pseudo first round, but that third round is also going to be really tight, because then the other person is going to have to respond really aggressively. So I think that by this time, we will see Holloway really truly fill out his lightweight potential. He's going to really start selling into his strategy and, customize himself to the new weight. So now in these fourth and fifth rounds, so they're very important, you have Dustin, dragging out. And I think that Holloway is a great fighter of all this. But my prediction for this fight is what happens in these rounds. And I just can't see Holloway, knocking out Poirier. Poirier's going to try and grind it out, I think, to a decision. And I think Poirier is the new interim champion, while Max Holloway tries to make another comeback at this thing. It's a real tough fight to be fighting your first time. But we also have to keep in mind that they were both in the same division. I don't know if they fought each other, but they were both in the same division down at another weight. So there could be more to the story than just a knockout in the first round. But personally, I think the new weight cut will somewhat get to Holloway, and it will have him drop a couple of rounds, signaling the win for Dustin Poirier. But it will still be a very entertaining and close fight. So guys, put your thoughts in the comment section. Who you think is going to win this fight, and how do you think it's going to go down between the co-main event and the main event? Who will be our new champions, or should I say interim champions, and who will beat their regular championship counterparts? This has been the best Gojira in gaming. I do this every week. Rate, comment, and subscribe. This has been the best Zilla in UFC news. Sign off, guys. See you next week.